guys, and I'm thinking to myself, the level of ignorance is increasing in the atheistic mindset. Not you personally, I'm talking about the information, okay? Now, if I look at things, I say, look, why don't you assess the evidence? Yes? Now, he repeated to a certain extent what you said. Well, you see, the Quran, you can't change it even if you wanted to change it.
Yeah.
Yes?
Is that true or not?
So I'm thinking to myself, how much do you actually know about the Quran to make a statement like that? Do you know enough to the extent that you would do the same to a book that is written by an expert? For example, A Universe from Nothing, written by Professor Lawrence Krauss. Yeah?
Exist, mate. Come on, man.
Can I finish? Can I finish? I never interjected. He wrote a book, A Universe from Nothing.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Okay. I take the first 5 paragraphs.
Yeah.
I read and I conclude he is talking a load of nonsense, and I close the book. I go to an individual.
But claiming
One second. You see the difference here. I still didn't interject. Yes. So I still didn't interject. Yeah. So I read only a few pages and I close the book and I say a lot of rubbish. And I come across an individual who is sympathetic with what Professor Krauss says.
Yeah.
And he says to me, he's written a book, brilliant book, A Universe from Nothing. And I said to him, oh yeah. I know which one it is, load of rubbish. He says, why? I said, well, I read the first 3 pages and I came to the conclusion, a load of nonsense.
Yeah.
Any reasonable individual who is listening to what I'm saying will say to me, the person will definitely tell you, did you read the full book? And I will say, no, don't need to. Only the first 3 pages gave me the conclusion. Any reasonable person would turn around and tell me, Shabir, you have lost it. You cannot formulate it. I never interjected. You can never formulate a conclusion in totality when you didn't read the whole book. Okay? So now comes the issue, adultery. I would like you to take a stone if it's ex's friend, his daughter or whatever. Yeah? You see, it needs a bit of logical assessment before you conclude. Yes? And I do know that, again, it's soundbite Islam that I'm hearing here. Okay? So, you talk about adultery. In a particular legal system, it is a criminal act. Punishable criminal act. In a particular system, it isn't. In this country, yes, you have rules or laws that were passed, they were then subsequently repealed. Yes, depending on how society feels about a particular aspect. Okay, it is not necessarily what the truth of the matter is, it is merely how emotional society is and how lovey-dovey they feel. Okay, I never interjected. Yeah, so you find, well, what you are talking about is a system of law. You need to assess the legal element of it. You need to look at what potential or possible defenses there may be. Now all this requires study, which I know you haven't done, but I'll leave it aside. Okay? Secondly, I will say this, as far as the totality of the evidence or the guidance concerning the Quran is concerned, anyone can make sweeping generalizations as you guys have done. Oh this, that, oh you know what, it was rehashed. I put you on the spot, you were clueless. I know I would do the same with the brother here and he will be clueless, but I won't do that. What I will say is this, for you to come and say, really, it means you have rationalized whatever it is you are disagreeing with. Now I'm going to ask a simple question to you too. Rationally, what did you find wrong with the guidance of the Quran? Rationally. Now you must understand, I'm going to make it clear here. Rationally, the definition you have to look at, okay, it will mean you have to assess every aspect of that particular paragraph or statement, not soundbite Islam as I'm hearing, but assessing, just like I would do, and he is entirely wrong about what I would welcome. I would, if I can just finish, if I just, one second, if I can just finish, I would entirely welcome any constructive assessment, any assessment based on the critical faculties. I am all for that, because I would rely on evidence, but once that evidence is produced, it ought to be assessed logically, rationally, and reasonably. Now, I am certain you guys haven't done that.
Already gave you shahada.
So let me ask you a question. Do you class the Quran as fact?
In what context?
In every reality, mate.
Come on, don't
keep
do
it
this.
simple.
Come on.
Don't do what?
Simple, mate.
So it's a simple,
Keep it
it's simple
mate.
English. Do
And
you
it's simple
class-
answer English.
So I'll ask a question again. So if you don't understand it, then we can go
I will
on
ask
with
you to
simple
elaborate.
English. Okay, I'll elaborate. Do you class the Quran as fact? So basically, everything in that book is true, unequivocal, straight down the line.
Unequivocally, yes.
Okay, so when you look at a science book, as you use as an analogy just a moment ago, I picked one book up explaining one theory, okay, and you've turned around and said that's a load of rubbish. But there are many books out there explaining different reasons as to why and the what for. Now, no one's arguing over each other and turn around and say, well, the universe started like this. No, it didn't. I'm going to kill you because it started like this, or I'm going to disagree with you immensely. They would turn around and have a logical, reasonable discussion based upon facts, or as facts as we're or at least measurable, and they can turn around and say, actually, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? So no one's going to turn around and say, this is the beginning of the universe, on an atheist tip, saying that is the beginning of the universe. That's it. No, because that would be silly. Because there are thousands and thousands of scientists out there who look at multiverses, different ways. You know, is it a universe after a universe or a universe? Are there multiples? All the different going on. So for you to turn around and use that as an analogy by turning around going that we've only just read one or two passages and put it down and gone like that. Well, no. Any spiritual, any supernatural one, I can only speak for myself. I would turn around and go, really? That's just bonkers, because you're all spouting. None of it can be proved.
Yeah.
None of it can be redone in a normal way.
in a scientific
Unlike
position.
with a scientific one, you turn around and then what do? You have a theory. You publish a paper. I don't know the exact details. I'm just a
Peer
South London.
That's fine.
I'm just a
Peer
South London
review.
barrel boy. You know, that's all I am. Okay. But you turn around, as I understand it, you have a theory. Then you write a paper,
Yeah.
and then you turn around and then you publish that paper.
And
Everybody else looks at it,
Yeah.
and they turn around and go, right, let's have a look. Now, we would have to logically assume, okay, that if everybody can recreate what you have
Exactly,
written,
yes.
then you would have to turn around and go, based upon what we know now,
Yeah.
okay, but everybody's more than happy if someone else comes along. And then, like with the Hadron Collider, they're finding out new particles and stuff like that, which completely flips on people's head. And all it does is make people want to know more. And they go, oh, that's where it is. That's what it is. That could open up new doors. That could do this. That could do that. And then once it's recreated, but then the moment someone challenges it or someone changes it, everybody turns around and goes, that's a different way of looking at it. That's fantastic. So, my book is not fact,
Yeah.
okay, or should we say my general realm of science is not fact, or what I look towards isn't fact. I'm constantly looking for something new, something interesting, and I'm quite happy to turn around and go, that scientist wasn't proved wrong, it's just that he just didn't know the information he knew then.
Yeah.
But you're turning around and saying, you haven't read the book. So, and I'll reply back to you again. You just got to read randomly through the book, and each one you just look at and you go,
Especially if you're claiming perfectness.
yeah, and
You know?
you're claiming perfectness. Yeah, I mean, it was like there was one thing that there's one passage how it describes how mountains come from.
Oh, yeah, something like that. That's
And
what I
things like
mentioned
that.
about the
And I know, and
Hey.
but do you know what? But it's all. But see, the crazy thing is, the Quran was only written 1,500 years ago.
It's already established, how mountains came about.
Do you know that? See, the thing is, if you look,
so much ignorance in
Find
there.
out.
see, the thing is, quite
It's already
often,
been told to you, God didn't
is
tell them.
I'm not looking to
Geology and all
rubbish.
that nonsense.
Okay, I'm not looking to
That's
rubbish.
it.
So if I was reading stuff and I just went based upon what I know, being of moderate intelligence, okay, that I would go, actually, the great thing about things like the internet and what have you, and you don't just look at Facebook for your information, you know, you look in Harvard, you know, you look in Oxford, you look, all this stuff is constantly just churning out, and then you can make an informed decision.
Yeah.
But what you're trying to do, I'm assuming, in your daily life, or what you are doing in your daily life, is holding on to something, and I will repeat it once again, that is a book, and I think this gentleman turned around. If you look at a lot of the stories in the Quran, and give me half an hour, go and get a coffee, and I'll come back and give you at least 15 examples, but you don't do that right now, that are literally rehashed stuff from before. So there's nothing new. It is nothing new. The only things that are new, possibly, are the names,
certain places, certain events.
possibly the names. Oh, even then I'll probably say it's all roughly, because it's, and that geographical location.
Flew on Pegasus.
Oh yeah, that one's
horse,
good. Yeah, the flying horse. Haven't seen one of those. Ever since the advent of the video camera, haven't seen any of those. Unless obviously you just chuck one off a cliff and then hang glide, but it doesn't happen. There are so many things, and then you turn around and say benevolent, merciful, blah blah blah, la la la. And as the wonderful Stephen Fry turned around and said, bone cancer in children. What's all that about? What's that about? And what was the other thing he turned around and said? The little animal, that sole purpose. And I can't remember the name of it, and I've looked into this thinking he was just spatting. Sole purpose that God has put, as you would class, that little thing is to burrow through the eyes of children. And that is it. And it's got some sort of Latin name, I can't remember what it is.
There's always a long name as well.
What's that about? Malevolent? Blah blah blah? No. So, and then you have to turn around and question it and go, well, then you turn around and then you go to the spirituality part and you go, well, where's the mercy? And all he's doing is making you fearful, so-called afterlife, okay, when no one has ever gone and come back from, so you don't even know it exists, only because of what was written. That's the only thing you have.
Right. Now, can I respond? You see,
I think what I said is fairly reasonable.
Actually, obviously, respectfully, it would sound reasonable to you because you don't know any better. But let me just go back a few minutes. You see, your level of ignorance, again, respectfully, was shown up when you mentioned the Pegasus. Yeah? It clearly shows you are clueless about the Quran. One second. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Where in the Quran is the Pegasus mentioned?
Let's just search.
Yeah, let's do this.
Do it. And if you don't find it, what will you do?
Then just look for something else, it's easy enough to do.
Because you're expecting us to be encyclopedic.
Can you see that?
No, it's fine.
You won't even have the courage to admit you're wrong.
Well, hang on.
But you are an atheist, so I accept that. It's okay.
You can use your book for your
Find the
knowledge,
Pegasus.
and we can use ours. So
You don't have any. Because it's all subject to new information.
which is fantastic. So you cling on to
Find it.
You cling on to 15-year.
Find it. Chris, show me where in the Quran
Okay, let's go.
Pegasus in the Quran.
So how did he? Because it wasn't it how he got from one place to another.
No, you both confidently asserted.
No, that was a question. I didn't say that as statement.
You are trying to.
That was a question.
I can see what you are trying to do, but you confidently both said, "Oh yeah." You did say, "Oh yeah, Pegasus." Yeah, I haven't seen that since the advent of X, Y, and Z. Find it for me.
It's not in the actual Quran. It's in the Hadith.
So, are you going to retract your statement
Well, yeah, for the Quran.
about the Quran?
Islam,
At least you are being honest, Chris. Are you going to admit?
It's in Islam.
No, you see, now you are changing the subject matter.
Yeah, we admit it was in the Quran.
I was only talking. I'm asking him now. Are you admitting you're wrong?
No. So
of course.
Is Hadith nothing to do with Islam then?
It's a different part of Islam.
Can you see now? Chris, I appreciate you guys have just been found out. Now you are going to backtrack. If I can, I was responding. They are talking to me. Thank you.
No.
You see, I am the one.
Simple question. It's a Hadith in the Quran.
Thank you, brother. No, they can't be because they are atheists. Yeah, but let me put it this way. You see, Chris, at least you admitted it. Now the problem here I find is this: that your level of ignorance, as I said, has increased. Soundbite Islam is good if you want to carry on believing your
religion.
If you can, if you want, you see, not once did I interject.
Telling me it's ignorance
Yes?
when it's in your religion. How can you
I'm merely making my point.
Is the
Now,
reports reported to
he
what
talks.
the Islamic Prophet Muhammad said verbatim on any matter?
Quran, yeah, that
doesn't matter.
It needs to be in there.
I'm not an encyclopedia. The concern is your religion.
Brother,
Come on, man.
you've been found out and now you are having
Why are you
difficulty in making the
semantic
admission.
Did you know what
It's
I just
okay.
said? Did you not hear
Yeah,
what I just
I
said?
heard what you said, but we were talking about the Quran.
Okay.
We talked only about the Quran. Now you can try all your gymnastics. God bless
No,
you.
it's not in the
But
Quran,
Chris,
but it's in their religion. It's in
are you
the Quran.
admitting it was
Yeah.
not in the Quran?
Yeah, so
All
they
right.
believe this.
Are you admitting it was not in the Quran?
Yes, it's not in the Quran.
Sorry, I cannot hear you.
I will go with that, yes.
You are admitting
I
it's
know,
not in the
yeah,
Quran.
yeah. See, that's
Okay.
a good thing, so I'm
Okay.
more than happy to
No,
do
it's
that.
not the good thing.
No, for me it is.
It is a
So
terrible
what-
thing because you were
the person I am. I was
you
going
were
to
so
continue arguing with
you
you.
were so confident in your assertion. Oh, I haven't seen one of them since the advent
but
of
we
it.
know it's
You
part
see,
of Islam.
what I'm saying. Excuse
why
me.
we made a
No. I was specific about the Quran. Now, that's one point. As I said, the ignorance level. Then you are talking about, as a human being, yes, you have got one person, yes, who is telling you something. You read a book, yes, you read only 3 pages, but you can look at other books, which
Fantastic. Within 30
if I can
seconds,
finish.
Within 30 seconds, we realise our mistake and we're happy to admit it.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
great thing.
Exactly.
We just done that.
Guess,
Isn't that how-
guess
how
what?
cool are we?
Isn't it amazing that we have been taught to do exactly that? Now, of course, you
That's
won't
the
accept it.
constraints within your
Yeah,
Quran.
but now listen to this.
You can't
Yes,
step out of that.
if I can just finish. You talked about read X, Y books. You talked about science. You talked about Aristotle. You talked about how the universe, the beginning of the universe.
Yes, we
Yeah.
know that,
Okay, I will ask you again, both of you.
Yeah.
What does the Quran say about the beginning of the universe?
I don't know.
That the earth and the heavens were close together or together somehow. That's I can remember from when I read the Quran.
No, I don't know.
You don't know.
He doesn't know.
Okay, now here is my logic here
Yeah.
is consistent, and I told you this, Chris.
Yeah.
You see, you are one after another making statements, assertions, claims. Yet when you are asked the most simple question about the very thing you are criticizing, you are clueless. But we will take it one step further. You see, I entirely agree with you. When you talk about assessing, if I was told, Shabir, you got it wrong, and it was found to be wrong, I would put my hand up and say, hey, you know what, I'm wrong. But who taught me how to do that?
I don't know. Who did?
Yes? Who?
I don't know.
Don't know.
My logic has told me.
Okay.
Yeah?
you, yeah.
Now,
Could be anything else.
I'm
Could be
asked-
anything else.
one second. Now, you see, as a Muslim, I am encouraged to ensure that I establish facts reasonably,
Are you?
logically,
Are you?
and rationally.
Are you?
You are entitled to your opinion. But as we can see so far, I'm the only one making a logical argument. You guys are making an emotional
Are
one.
you?
But, of course, I just proved it, but I will let you off.
Yeah, sure you have.
Go a bit further. I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name, brother. Joe. Yeah? You see, Joe talked about that. I'm talking about the beginning of the universe. But here is a classic which I'm going to leave you with. Yes? The Quran talks about all these discoveries we talk about.
Does it really?
That's
Yeah.
it, mate. That's it.
Yeah? Now, it talks about, and here is what, you see, if you allow me to finish, you will see what I was trying to say. So the Quran says, we will show them on the horizons and within themselves until it is manifest to them that this is the truth. Now the statement itself is overarching, okay? It is, you can call it that.
Yeah, I'll
yes?
go with that.
But amazingly, you know, when you use the word ambiguous, when you use the word horizon, can you get to the horizon?
What are you talking about?
Yes, I thought
You're
so.
describing
But
something.
anyway, yeah,
like
the
getting to the
description
horizon.
you need to understand. Like I said,
it talks about the horizon.
yeah.
Go on.
If I from here look at the horizon and I get to that point, what will happen to the horizon?
You're talking like get to
Yeah, I know you are
not
confused. It's
severe.
okay.
You're not
But
severe.
you understand what I'm saying,
Yeah,
Joe?
it says-
Now, no, it says very clearly that on the horizon, when within themselves, until it is manifest to them, this is the truth. Now, here is an aspect. Here is an aspect which you are not sure of or knew.
Sure, more like
It is telling you to consider evidence. It is telling you to actually establish what the facts are. That's what the Quran says for us to do. Now, whether it's 80% or in Brother Joe's case, probably none, yes, the point I'm making to you too is simple. All your soundbite Islam, leave aside and actually address it rationally, reasonably, logically. Now, if I can just finish. I never interjected. I never interjected, Joe. I never interjected. Now, are you going to be the typical atheist?
Only 5%
Yes, you
of
are.
what we said,
Let him say that.
only 5% of what we said have been
Let him
sound
say-
bites.
let him
The
say
rest of
that.
it has been reasoned argument.
Let him say that.
Okay,
Joe.
so you keep on saying that all we do is sound bites, but when we back it up with reasonable debate, that I will not take. I will not accept that.
Joe, you see,
Let him just go.
when you are talking about the Quran, what percentage did you talk?
5%, if that.
Thank you, that's what I was referring to. Now, reason debate, I did. If you are listening to me carefully, you would have heard me say, you know what, Islam, the Quran actually encourages us, yes, about discussion debate. If I was wrong, I would put my hand
Okay,
up. Logic told me.
go on.
1 second. So reason debate, I'm all for. But reason debate based on evidence that has been assessed logically, rationally, reasonably. Not soundbite Islam respectfully. So now the question I ask you is this, Joe. If on two simple things which you are so entirely convinced were true, I found you out, how much more?
Who's on entirely?
1 second, about Pegasus. Yeah? If
Entirely. I told you.
entirely, my opinion. My opinion. My opinion. No, don't try a quick one. Don't try a quick one.
Are you saying that
Trust me, I do.
Yeah, you
But now,
do.
1
You're
second.
certain. You're saying
the same
One
thing
second.
happened where we got from one point to the other
1
very
second.
quickly.
You see, we are restricting ourselves to the
Islam,
Quran. I appreciate now you want to try and.
Part of the story where
I
you go from one
appreciate.
place to another.
Exactly, yeah.
Very good.
Right, you are comforting each other, are you? You are comforting each other again.
Doesn't
Look,
matter.
at the end of the day, Joe. At the end of the day, Joe. The fact is, you are now desperately trying to change the yardstick or the goalpost. If I can finish, the goalpost.
Changing anything.
You've been found out. But anyway, I know you just carry on thinking like that. You are an atheist after all. Yeah. You see, at the end of the day, all I am saying to you guys, I don't mind critical analysis, critical judgment based on the evidence having been assessed. And all I'm asking you, Joe, I already told you, I mean, sorry,
already told you.
Chris, Joe, all I'm telling you guys is, look, remove your atheistic prejudices.
What do you mean by that?
Let me finish. Remove, he'll understand. Remove your atheistic, what's the prejudices?
Describe it first. What that is.
Basically, you are taking a position based on information which you thought was entirely true, formulated a conclusion and stood by it until someone if I can,
thinking.
you know what, I tell you what, Richard Dawkins says that anybody who doesn't accept evolution is a history denier. That's what he says.
Yeah, and
I say in response, anybody who doesn't accept the existence of a creator is a truth denier. But that's an opinion.
That's an opinion.
It's an opinion, and I'm entitled to that as Richard is entitled to his.
So what's the point?
But I'll tell you what the point is. Me and him, and I mean this in sincerity, would always look at the evidence, assess it in totality, and then formulate a conclusion, and then find. Respectfully, I am, and then if I can finish, I would then come to the Joe.
No, we can
1
put that to the
second.
test. We can put that to the test. Because he can do that, yeah? If he says
your
evolution
test
is
And
not it,
logic,
yeah?
and then you logic, you
We
look at
can
it,
look
blah,
at the
blah, blah.
scientists and say, okay,
show
we
me
can
the-
apply
show me the
evolution.
If I can just finish.
Show me the afterlife.
If I can
you
just
prove
finish.
it logically.
Yeah, we can prove
Yeah.
who's telling the truth out of you and him.
You see, I did say assess the evidence logically, rationally, and reasonably.
Then explain the afterlife logically, responsibly.
Are we moving away now?
You're saying both of you.
I think you are.
You're saying both of
moving
you.
away when I'm
Joe.
talking specific.
Joe, trust
I'm
me,
talking
trust
on
me.
Point, I'm not talking about this and then talking about that bloke
Yeah.
over there. I'm talking
Problem
to
is
you
over
about
Joe.
what you're saying, responding to what you're saying on point.
He's
I'm not
saying
changing.
that
Joe,
he's using
trust
the same
me,
method
guys.
as
Exactly.
Christopher
Right.
and they're going in two different conclusions.
Trust me,
That doesn't work in science.
there is
You
absolutely
can't do that in science.
no problem.
In science, when you're using the same method, you get the same result.
Trust me, there is absolutely no embarrassment in being found out. Okay?
Oh, do you know
Just
what?
drop it now. Don't worry. Drop it. Don't worry.
I'm really comfortable
Now.
with that. I'm comfortable with that.
He's
Because
claiming
what's going to happen is that we walk
that they're
away,
using the
everybody
same
listens to him, and
method.
all he's done is that rubbish us, and we walk away and he goes,
I've not rubbished
they
you.
don't know, see look, they've got no clue,
Joe.
they haven't read it,
He's
blah, blah, blah.
Joe.
Yeah, I know that trick. I've seen
Joe,
it before. It
Joe.
doesn't work with me, so that's
How is
fine.
that even possible?
So,
Joe,
explain to
I'm
me
not doing
logically,
it.
So then
I'm not doing it. I did say I was
you
coming.
don't want to do that.
I'm not.
Or you don't believe
Joe,
it.
I'm
Which
not
one?
doing. I'm not doing
On
what
point.
you are
doesn't know what
claiming I'm doing because
Okay.
look, the facts speak for themselves. You got found out.
Found out for what?
Anyway,
Claiming here,
going
what-
now.
You got methods. You're using the same method
Joe,
as that guy
Joe.
and reaching two different
Joe.
conclusions. How's that possible? My name's Chris. Yeah.
You're right.
The same method. You're using logic,
Listen.
and all this stuff,
Yeah,
but you're
we're-
both going into different conclusions.
Chris,
How is that?
apologies. I
even
kept on calling him Joe. I do
know, I know.
apologize. Chris,
Yeah.
listen. I had stopped with you until this brother came in. You joined in. The fact at the end of this discussion is you guys were pretty ignorant of what you, one second, what you consider to be Quranic facts. Now, all I am saying is, look, I appreciate, one second, Joe, let me finish.
I accept that.
Joe, I got it right.
I accept that.
Joe,
No,
all
you're
I am saying to
absolutely
you,
right.
well,
No, no.
can I just finish?
No. because
Let me
I
finish,
accept
Joe, let me
you
finish.
You've been ignorant about
No.
the facts.
Yeah.
Overall, I still stand by my claim. It's supernatural.
Right. You see, you can't even do that because when I asked you specifically, you said only 5%. So you can't even do that. But having said that, Joe, all I am saying to you too is, look, open your horizons.
Open my eyes. My eyes are already open.
I'm entitled to an opinion
Why
in this
ask
great
me
country of
something I
ours.
already know, like,
Right.
come on.
Anyway, Joe, what I would suggest to you guys, look, revisit the Quran, take your atheistic prejudices out. If I can just finish.
No.
Prejudices, of course you won't do it. That's why you're still
I
atheist.
tell you what.
Why are you afraid? That's what I
You're just telling me to be stupid. That's
respectfully,
You're telling me to be stupid.
Joe, respectfully, I already said to you, when you
You want me to be stupid. That's what you want me to be. That's what it is. That's what you want me to be.
respectfully,
You want me to be stupid.
respectfully, Joe.
You just
it-
rehash it in a different way.
I know I'm calling you.
You want me to be stupid. You want me to go back and
Respectfully,
do the
Chris.
same bullshit I've read
Chris,
before.
Chris,
and
you are
then
getting
reach the same
emotional.
conclusion.
You are getting emotional. You are getting
I don't
emotional.
care.
Question.
Joe.
That's what I'm
One
saying that's
question.
important.
Okay, fair play. That's
You know what I'm saying that's important.
God bless.
What I'll do. I'll go and read.
Joe,
the
come on,
Come on,
Joe.
sit down and make times, man. How many
page
times?
I should read in the Quran that may kind of give me an insight.
Why do I keep calling you Joe? I'm sorry, I do
Any
apologize.
particular,
I do apologize, sorry.
Any particular chapter or anything? Because obviously I may not have the whole time
Let's
to,
just go to the
to read.
Shahada, mate.
I may not be able
That's
to read
one
the
thing.
whole Quran. But is there one particular chapter that you particularly like within the Quran?
Yeah.
All of it.
You like all of it. Is there one,
All of
one
it.
that you quite like?
They like
No.
the
It's like
Let
me,
me-
I went to Church England school. The Lord's Prayer, I used to love doing that. I really, really did. And there's a few stories in the like the feeding of the 5,000. Little stories. So I can turn around as an atheist, turn around and tell you there's two things in the
Okay.
Christian Bible I like. Is
No,
there
no, I'll
one-
tell you what.
Is there one
I'll
thing
give
in
you
the Quran
one.
that you like?
I'll give you one which you need to consider.
Fantastic. That's what I wanted.
Chapter 112 of the Quran.
112.
112.
Right, I'm
okay.
going to do it
Have a
right
look. God bless.
Oh no, I'm trying to go stand over there.
No problem. Look out, yourself, Joe.
112.
You asked me a question on what verse.
Not again, Joe. We are done. Let's go.
I'll give you the Shahada, like that's the one that I'm up against, basically.
Show it to me in the Quran.
What verse is the Shahada? Yeah, the Shahada.
Show it to me in the Quran. Don't ask. Find it.
I mean, he's always finding things, isn't it?
If you knew about them, you don't need to find them, do you?
What was the question again? What was the question?
He'll ask it. Don't
There is
worry.
no God but God. Muhammad is his messenger. Yeah.
Yeah. What about it?
So
Can't he speak for himself? Or does he need a messenger? That's the question.
making
we asked
claims,
him 2 hours
yeah?
ago.
Didn't we meet him earlier on?
Yeah.
2 hours ago.
making claims that there's a God and there's no
What do you
other
mean
gods,
messenger?
and also Muhammad is this God's messenger. Yeah. Yeah. How did you establish that there is a God and this God is his messenger, and somehow from all the gods that human beings have created, that's the only one? How did you establish that? What
Then-
did you use? What logical, reasonable method did you use to establish that this God?
Now you're asking me to give you another discussion of a half an hour.
speak.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, Joe.
Yeah.
Why am I calling you Joe? Chris. Chris.
I don't mind. Call me Joe.
Chris, he's so tired. He just wants to be called anyway. Right, Chris. Listen. Your friend said something. Yeah. He said there is so much information available. Go and search it for yourself.
I'm asking
Sorry.
you. You know this. We all do this. I'm asking
Trust
you.
me.
I just want to point. It's like, look, you're not trying to convert me. I'm not trying to convert you. I just want to get your
I would
information.
never convert. I would never try.
Doesn't matter. I'm
But
asking a question.
I want you to consider the evidence. Have a look.
No, but what meant it for you yourself? What did you do?
I asked you, find the Shahada in the Quran.
I just told you already.
Find me where it says in the Quran. Yes.
Okay. Oh man.
What a hearing direct. But it's having it relevant.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's what they want.
You believe it? Told 47 things shown the evidence. So God can speak for himself. Why does he need a message?
Talk to him. Sorry, brother. Talk to him.
He can't answer you.
There is one with the hat here as well if you want to
Yeah.
see him.
You can talk to him all day long. Here he is. Here. Yeah. He looks.
He's got,
He looks quite handsome.
I've spoken to him, but I can talk to him as well if I want.
oh yes, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. No problem.
No, but you are interjecting the poor guy. You've already broke.
Testimony from the word, to observe, to witness.
You don't do that, do you?
Is it Islamic?
this is a
Islamic creed declaring belief in the oneness of God and acceptance of the God's prophet. Yeah. So
In Quran?
it's not in the Quran.
No, in Quran, in Quran.
So why did you guys say it? What's the question?
Now, is that a different question?
Huh?
You see, Chris, I told you.
That's part Islam,
Chris,
isn't it?
I told you. You know what this is now? It has become an exercise in straining at the gnat and swallowing the camel. What I'm suggested to you, Chris, go and study it yourself independently.
No.
Don't take it.
Things much more complicated.
I am not at all. I'm simplifying it for you.
Keep it simple.
Yeah?
Ask a simple question. Why do you guys say the Shahada? What is the purpose of it? Do you understand? Why have you concluded that there's a God and he somehow Muhammad is his messenger? This is the basis of my question. Whether it's in the Quran or not, it's part of your religion. Do you understand? It's part of your religion. Yeah?
I will
Don't expect me
do,
to
Chris.
be an encyclopedia.
Chris, I will do one thing.
Keep things simple.
I will respond to you and bring it to an end. Okay? The creed says there is none worthy of worship except Allah the Creator, and Muhammad is the messenger of the Creator. Now, prior to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, coming, there were a multitude of prophets who had come. Each one had brought a message, but that message was not in its totality. When it arrived with the Prophet Muhammad in totality, logic dictates that the one who came finally with all the message for the benefit of humanity would be logically the one to follow. Hence, there is no one worthy of worship except Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. So, if any potential claimant comes and says, I am a prophet of God, okay, we would kindly sit him down and tell him, you know what, you may be mistaken, because the total message for the benefit of humanity as a favor conferred by the Creator to humanity came with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And so any subsequent claimant to prophethood, yes, is unlikely to be, or is likely to have been mistaken, and so it would have to be assessed. Okay?
So that's the reason they say the Shahada, just because of that.
That's my reason, yes. Third time.
Doesn't make any sense, man.
I know it doesn't. It won't until you remove your atheist mindset. Then it will make sense.
Atheist mindset, you know?
Yeah? Assalamu alaikum.